TradingSim, the #1 market replay platform in the world, where you can learn to trade like a pro at your own pace.
Hello everyone, John here with TradingSim again. Just going to put together a quick tutorial for you on how I like to use the anchored VWAP indicator here in the trading simulator. So we've done a blog post on this, just kind of discussing a handful of strategies, and wanted to show you how to use this so you could test it for yourself. So here in the simulator, we've got AMC up on the screen. I've got a 1-minute chart on top. I've got a daily chart on the bottom. And what I'd like to do first is just make sure that we've got volume here, because volume can be very important when it comes to identifying events and significant days. So to do that, I'm going to put up the volume on the chart, at least the chart below, for the daily. Now, if we look at this, we can identify some really significant days here. And when you're playing with the anchored VWAP, the best thing to do is just try to identify these days. And what you can do is take our handy dandy anchored VWAP bar here and tether that to a specific day. So you'll notice that I've done that here with the largest volume day on the chart. Now what you could also do is add another one. So we click on our studies tab and we go down to anchored VWAP and just click that. So we've got that there, and then we'll move that over. Let's move this one over to the highest volume at the all-time high here. So now we've got two anchored VWAPs, right? We've got one that may or may not have provided support for us way back in the earlier part of the year, and we can test that. So we can see maybe some areas where that provided resistance or provided support, and then how that looks going forward. So we can see that it's kind of created a channel for us here from long-term support down low and potential resistance up above. So if we notice then that the anchored VWAP that we have closest to the high volume high here back in June gave us a line of resistance. And the story that's being told here is that if this is the amount of volume that we have building up to this event right here, this high, then going forward, bears and bulls are probably going to be duking it out around that average. And whoever wins kind of gets to determine what the trend is, what the new trend is. So if you'll notice, we have a consolidation here, and we found support, 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 but we also had, we never could break out to new highs. So the new highs were still way up here. And I'd be interested in throwing a VWAP Boulevard line up here and just see what that level is as well. So VWAP Boulevard would be right around 51. So it's very similar to what we had there. I'm going to take that off. And if you're interested in what VWAP Boulevard is, we've got a blog post on that. Just go to our blog and search for VWAP Boulevard. It'll explain all about it. But it's very similar to a pivot point or anchored VWAP, volume at price. It's basically just telling you where most of the volume, at what price the volume has kind of piled into. And that's going to give you an indication of who's in control here. So this anchored VWAP becomes resistance eventually once we break through it. And then later on, we have a very uncanny resistance this month here where it retested that level right around $49. So the question going forward will be, will this continue to provide resistance for the stock, or will it break through that? And let's look at an example of that. So we've discussed a couple of strategies in the list in the blog post about red to green and green to red. So let's take a look at SPRT. Here we go. So here's an example, and it keeps the VWAP boulevards up there, or excuse me, the anchored VWAPs from from before. So let's move the anchored VWAP over to the highest volume, just like we did with, and we can delete this one if we want to. There we go. So now we just got one anchored VWAP. Now then, let's zoom in on what's going on here from this day. So we've got the high volume day, and then notice that shorts are completely in control of the stock until we start to near the anchored VWAP from that high volume episodic pivot. So whatever happened that day, whether it was earnings or news, somebody really piled in on the short side here. We know that this stock had a 60% short of the float, and the float's only about 15 million. So you notice that they're trying to defend their position, push the stock back down, but eventually this kind of becomes support. And you can see that later on it continued to provide support around this crucial area and provided the impetus or the support necessary to carry the stock higher for a nice little short squeeze. So if you keep this tool, this indicator kind of in your toolbox, it might be a great way to spot support and resistance. So an opportunity to go long here when we go green, or when we go red, when longs are in the red, but then once they cross the anchored VWAP, they're now in the green. And then test, gives you the opportunity to get long on this stock and take advantage of a nice little short squeeze if you're paying attention there. So that's just a couple of examples. And again, you can test this out with other tickers that you may want to play, maybe like a Tesla if you're into Tesla. Let's see what we've got this tethered to here. Let's find a good date. Maybe we'll find the low, maybe the most recent low. How about over here? And notice how this provides a nice little support level for us. And what you can do if you're a short-term trader is you might identify trading ranges. So let's get our horizontal line going here and see if we can't find a trading range. Maybe let's draw our own line. So if you notice that anchored VWAP is trending up, kind of providing support for the stock here, and if we can maybe find a nice little channel here, it would give us a great opportunity to play some short-term swing trades. So maybe you want to go short when you hit the upper bounds of the trading range, and then maybe you want to go long when it comes in and finds support, right? And you could have done that at least like one. There's a trade. Go long, short here. Yeah, there's another trade, and then we flip long again. So just an opportunity to trade in a channel there, knowing what your anchored VWAP is providing support for. All right, guys. Well, I hope that kind of clears up a couple of different ways and a couple of different strategies you can use the anchored VWAP tool. And if you don't like the bar being on there, you can always just click on the AVWAP and get rid of the anchor selector. I'll do that just to show you. And then nice and clean chart there for you. So make sure you give us some feedback over here on the provide feedback. Let us know what you like. Let us know how the strategy is working for you. And be sure to check out and subscribe to our blog post for more great strategies. Thanks a lot and have a great day.